Alright, here we are back in 3ds Max 5 with our gun model, and hopefully with knowing a little bit more about animation from the previous video, animating this will be a lot easier. First things first, we need to resave this. Let's create a new folder and name it Tut Beretta. Then we want to name this file Tut Beretta or FP Beretta Idle, because this is the animation we're going to work on. And save it. And right now, at this point, I think it might be best to finally take the biped out of figure mode. If you take this off, you cannot enable it later on. It will cause problems. So, just a little food for thought. Make sure you got everything completely done the way you want before you start on this and turn this off. Because once you turn this off, it's the point of no return. And I think we passed that point, so we turn it off. Okay, now in our idle animation, we want the gun to sway up and down just a little bit. So that's exactly what we're going to do. With our biped, that'll be incredibly easy because there's not much to it. All you gotta do is just select these two hands and, well, just move it up and down. Before we do that, we've got to either turn auto key on, or we could set the keyframe manually. Since we're using the biped and setting keyframe animation positions for bipeds is not conventional to setting them with normal objects, it has its own little keyframe icon. That's different. So what we're going to do, we're going to turn auto key on it. Everything we do from this point on, the computer will remember it. So what first thing we want to do is we want to set the default position for our gun. Let's get rid of these so these aren't in the way anymore. So we might want to freeze these too. Okay, the first thing we want to do is, well, we need to define our time frame, or how much time we're going to use. No, I think we should do that last. Okay, well, we'll select the hands, and then we'll put them in our default position. This is our default position. We don't want anything to change from here. So what we'll do is we'll select all of it. We'll right-click on this timer, the spinner right here, and click it. We want to set a position and a rotation. We do not want to set a scale. That will take up extra memory, and that's a waste. And hit OK. I think for the biped we might have to set our own keys. Oh, I guess that works. But for the pistol, those keys are definitely set, as you can see right here. We'll move back to frame 0. Okay, this is the first key pose as we went through earlier. You can see that it's a key pose because, well, everything has a bounding box around it. If we move it further down the line, let's say over 40 frames, we want the hand to move down a little bit. This is where our camera view comes into play. You can see just exactly how much our pistol will move downward. I think that will be about good. Just a little bit too much and it will look over exaggerated, too little and it won't look good enough. Now, simply putting this back into its default position, just by moving it back, will be difficult because we can't really quite get it back into the same exact spot without knowing exactly how many units we moved it. So the easy thing is we could select this keyframe right here, hold shift, and drag it over here. And then when you let go, it'll duplicate it. And then now when we move the slider, we can see the change. You could hold Control and Alt and then use the right mouse button and click down here on this timeline, and we could change the time instantly. And then now we can see this is our animation, our idle animation. and is by looking at it, by eyeballing it, you can tell that when it gets to the top, it's sort of, it looks like it's bouncing down more than it's doing a smooth transition. So to fix this, what we can do is select both of these hands. We go to the motion tab, this little thing right here. It's been selected this whole time for me. And we could go to animation properties, I think. That's not it. Let's see. I think we only could do it one at a time. Here we go. In the key information tab, we want to ease to and from the first and the last keyframe. These are both in the same position, but they do not transition smoothly. It feels more like a poke at the top. So to fix this, we could do ease. Let's try this. Do 25, ease to. Click this right here, and do an ease from. And do the same thing down here. Ease from, and then an ease to. Let's see how that looks. I think it's probably going to look worse because I probably got it backwards. Oh no, it looks like I got it dead on. And look at that's a pretty good idle animation. I like it. So once that animation is done in all 80 frames, we'll move this back to slider 1, and then we'll save this. Save. This is our new idle animation. And we could come in here and unfreeze all, select this, minimize this mesh parameters, and then we want to put the ramp in and ramp out to about 2. This is actually exporting the animation. This is very important. We have, after we do our animation and we're all done with it and the editor and everything, we could go to export. No, not that. That's mesh parameters. Cancel. Stop. Come right here to MVF parameters and hit export. We'll go to our CRF toolkit, the MVF reduce folder. This is where all the animations go. We'll name this Tubretta idle, and then we'll hit save. Should take a little bit, and that's it. We could go over here to, where is it? The CCrunch folder and MVF reduce folder, and we can see there's our animation. It is kind of big right now. That's okay, because later on we'll be compressing it. But for the hell of it, we could edit this. This is my settings for the make.bat. It is crucial that you have something that looks very similar to this, or values that are similar to this, and these 2 flags, so we get everything in the folder. And then when we're done, we could just simply click this and it will convert this animation to something usable. Now I got a Tubretta idle RFA, a reflection animation, something that we can use. And we can move this over to our mod folder. And now we got our V3C. This is our model, and this is our animation. We'll go ahead and go through the rest of the animations, or a few others, for the sake of mercy. Once we got this idle animation done, which I suggest doing the idle animation always first, so we have a base to go back to, something that's easy to fetch our default position off of. You freeze this, save it, and then do a save as, and then we'll name this reload. And then we'll save it. Now this, we could clear out the keyframe in the middle and the 2 idle ones. Just make sure it's on frame 0 before we start moving keyframes. I suggest you start from here And then after moving that one, you can select these and get them out. Now it's back to it's being fairly static again. It's not moving. And then now we're going to start our reload animation. We could turn on auto key mode. Auto key mode. And let's say, around 12 frames. You'd have a hand cock back. Oh, undo that. Let me turn this on local mode. Okay, we'll have the hand cocked back just a little bit. We could use the camera one as a reference. Oh shit. I don't want to move it. Moving the camera is bad. Don't ever move the camera. We'll have it reload like this, and we could have the hand cocked back a little bit more. We could also have it pull back. Turn this on local mode. Have it pull back like that. Maybe rotate a little bit more. And then we'll have this hand move off the screen. And basically we let the computer handle all the animation between, as you can see right here. And then maybe around frame 16, we'll have the hand come out like this. Maybe we could have the thumb twitch a little bit, make it look like it's hitting something. I forget the thumb can't rotate that way. So we could just extend it for, make it a little bit fancier, a little bit more realistic. And now we could get the clip to move out. So we could click the damn clip. And it is very important that we use local movement mode, so it moves on its own axis. And then we can make the clip move out from here. Now when we play that back, you should see there's a little bit of a problem. As you can see in this viewport, that, well, the clip just shoots out. Well, we wanted the clip to fall out all the way at frame 16. We don't want that. What we want it to do is we want it to shoot out in between, let's see, frame 12 and 16. It'll be at the bottom. So we go back to frame 12. For fast reference, we could right click this spinner, get the source time as 0 frame, where it's in the default position, which is inside the gun, and we want it to be a position keyframe because it's being moved, not rotated. Now I can press OK. Now it'll snap back to where it belongs, and, well, there you go. It looks like the pistol clip shoots out a little bit too fast, and plus it, clips out, it looks like. If you really want it to look a little bit more professional, you could change that. Maybe I should. Get that right here, and I could rotate it like that. See what happens. And you also see the same thing happens with the rotation if we don't reset it. So we'll just grab a rotation key from the default position. And now you can see that it releases the clip properly. I don't like how fast the clip shoots out, so we're going to expand the time frame which it shoots out. Let's move this from the start point of when it shoots out to around frame 6. Let's see how that looks. Well, now you can't even see it. So now maybe you could move this like this to frame 16. And there you go. Now the pistol clip slides out properly. Now what we want to do is we want to add a little hand motion to make it seem like the pistol clip weighs something. like the hand moving, twitching a little bit when the clip slides out, because right now when we play it back, I mean, the clip just slides out and the hand is just completely still. That looks fake as hell. So let's move to around frame 19, and we could, well, move the hand like that a little bit. And then maybe, let's see how many frames are in between here. About 3 frames. And then move another 3 frames. And then we'll fetch a source frame, or source time of about, what frame was that? Frame 16. I want to get a source time of 16. And this is a rotation key. I don't think it really matters when you set a key for a biped. I think it just sets its own little thing, so it doesn't really matter if you have these both ticked or not. And then we hit OK. And then, well, you do that. And then you got sort of semi-realistic motion. And then we put you basically have a little delay time in between when how long we want the gun to reload, empty space, for time. We can move it right around, maybe to around 45, frame 45, and we could have the clip snap back and this snap into the gun. So we get a rotation and a position from source frame, or source time 0, the default position where we want the clip back in the gun. Now if we play that back, yes, we're going to get the same problem, because the clip's going to be out and then it's going to slide back in like that. But we can possibly use that to our advantage. We could bring the hand up with it, so we can sort of fake it. So we're going to fake it, because I'm ghetto, I'm lazy. Okay, once we got that, we get the clip at its lowest point. Maybe you should move that up a little bit from this position. And maybe around frame 34, we could put this hand under the clip. It doesn't really matter what you do, like I've said before. The only thing that matters is what's on the screen at that time. We won't see this crap moving down here, so it doesn't matter. And this is how it is with everything, and everyone's like this. And it's the same thing with movies too. The only thing that matters is what the person sees. You can do anything you want out here, as long as when it's on screen it looks proper. We don't have to really tweak the fingers for the hand. Maybe we should. Tweak these out a little bit. Now just continue to move these. This one's in a more open position. And then when the clip finally makes it back into the gun at frame 45, we will move the hand up with it. Right now I think it's best to turn on view mode for movement. And we'll see how that looks. You can see there's still a gap in between the pistol and when the hand actually gets into the gun, reaches the gun, the pistol clip reaches it a little bit before. Let's see the pistol clip so I can adjust the timing. Let's do some time adjustment. That's rotation. We should copy position key from, let's see, what frame is this? We've got to remember frame 34. Frame 26 to 34. We'll grab a position key. That's not right. Well, whatever. You can just still move it anyway. Put it in local mode. You can move it along these two axes. And just pretty much position it in the palm of the hand. It looks like the pistol clip is traveling a lot faster than the hand. We'll still know how to fix that. There are some certain animation techniques you can use to avoid this. And, well, sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower, but for sake of saving time, and hopefully this will work, we can try to use a track editor to edit this. And from frame, we want the Z position. These two keyframes to have a linear transition. So set tangents to linear. Uh-oh. Wow, that sucked hard. Well, let's start up 3ds Max again. Hopefully we could pick off where we left off. Alright, thank God it saved it. Alright, let's try to do this. I can try to do this as fast as I can. Even if it means breaking a few rules with the animation, will speed up the hand movement. This is for the sake of saving time. Typically I wouldn't do this. I would use the track editor and edit the tangents of the animation to match the speed of it. And I don't have keyframe animation. I don't have keyframe mode on. What the hell am I thinking? Turn on auto key. So right around here, we want the hand to catch up with the clip. That's when it starts appearing on screen. You don't want it clipping too much. And that looks beautiful. Now we need to do a little bit of after secondary motion of the pistol and the hand going, both the hands going up a little bit from the impact. We'll see, you use about 5 frames for that. So we'll move the thumb back. Turn on local turning mode. So I'm quickly speeding through this. By the way, if any of you want to use a track editor for animation version 5, the track editor sucks. It's supposed to have lines going in between the keys, and I think every version after 5 has it, except 5 because they suck. And then once we got that, we can come back here. We can select this whole hand, starting from here. I'm thinking, why don't we reduce the just by 1 frame. Move this back. Looks like it's 2 frames. And then from here, we could take a couple frame space, and we can move these hands up a little bit. I have to do it individually because moving them at the same time seems to cause problems. And as we can see, there's already a problem with the movement of this arm. It's not moving the way I would like it to. We need to freeze these gun bones. We want to get the frame from frame 22 and snap it to around 46. And then we'll get the motion animation for this hand to get similar around this frame 51. So we'll do the shift drag. And that's not working because it also stores the keys for the hands. So we'll just have to move it manually. Looks about right. Doesn't need to be perfect. And then with all this empty space we have in between here, we can, you know, twist the gun a little bit to make it a little bit more realistic. We could also space out these keyframes a little bit more because it uses a little bit too much time, or too little. And let's see how that looks. And then from here we could basically snap it back to its default position. We could select both arms. I don't know, I better save it before I do this. Recover 2.max. Go to 3ds Max 5, scenes. And the top Beretta, and I'll save it as a reload recover 2. And then we'll move the default keyframe to frame 60. And that doesn't want to work. So our alternative is we could right click it, set the source time to 0, and let the computer do it. It's a miracle, it worked. And that is keyframe animation for a reload. I think I like it. It looks pretty good. It needs to be sped up a little bit. Let's play it back and check our results. And to make it a little bit more realistic, you got a little after motion. The easiest way to do this is to find this frame. Let's move ahead 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 frames. Right click, get a source time of 0, and then in between here you can add a little bit of motion. The computer automatically does it from the tangents, the way it places them. I can add a little bit of motion to it. You can do this via mode. Bring it down. Bring this down a little bit. And let's see how that looks. That looks beautiful. Now we can select all of it, find the last frame, 66, use a Control Alt right click, and we can move it and change the last frame and time to 66. And then we can save this file, save as, reload. Yeah. I want to place the file. Let's do unfreeze all, select the mesh, minimize that, ramp in and out, 2 is fine, frame rate 30, export, C, RF toolkit, and VF reduce, tut, Beretta reload. And save it. This is what it looks like. Off the screen you could pretty much tell that, well, it looks ugly as hell, but when it's on screen it looks good. Actually, you might need to fix that and re-export. I don't like the way that turned out right here. This is why it is important to okay, let's freeze this. Select this pistol clip. Just move this hand back under the clip. This is just basically finalization. And then at frame 40 we want the clip to be back in the gun. I'm going to have to shorten the time for this. That might look good. Let's see what happens. Brilliant. Save it again. Unfreeze all. Re-export the animation. Beretta reload. Replace it. And there we go. That is reloading animation. I think the hardest, but the most fun for our pistol. No wait, we're not done yet. We still need to do one last thing. It's going to be quick though. the hammer doesn't come back when we load it. We have a test starting keyframe. Let's move that to frame 66. Or I think the faster way, more safer way to do that is move it to frame 66, right click, source time 0, rotation. And then we can move the hammer back, put it on local, put movement. That's about far enough. We don't want it to slowly slide back. We want it to start sliding back at frame 16. Position key. And at frame 42, we want it to snap back into place. And we could also add a little animation for the kickback that the hammer snapping back into place would create. Now let's see what it looks like, the final version. That is nice, I like it. We export. Alright, seriously this time, that is it. Make sure you save your file and export it. And that is it. We're good to go.